speaking to me now, Port Talbot boxer Joshua John. I've watched you quite a few times in the amateur. I commentated on your fights a couple of times, but I've never actually done an interview with you. So it's good to finally speak to you, mate. How many fights do you have as an amateur? So I know you're quite experienced.
97 amateur fights, yeah, 97. And I won about 70 something, I'm not quite sure, so I think it's like 72, 73.
Speaking to some of the boxers here today, they've only had a handful of amateur fights and they turned pro. Why did you stay in the amateur so long?
I wasn't ready, I wasn't mature enough, I wasn't strong. Well, I believed I weren't strong enough, but when I turned over, and I think it's coming up 2 years, I felt like I was ready, yeah.
And can you name some of the guys we might recognise who you boxed in the amateurs?
I boxed Luke McCormack, Jack Ilya, Lee McGregor, Sean McGoldrick, yeah, of course, in the Welsh finals. That's top of the head, yeah, there's plenty more.
So were you involved in the Welsh setup as well, the Welsh squad?
Yeah, I was in the Welsh squad, yeah, well, since a young age, about 11, all the way until I turned professional. Yeah.
So what finally helped you make the decision to turn pro?
I was having one fight a year. I mean, I couldn't really fight on club shows. Then in the super bantamweight, in the Welsh, only 1 or 2 people was entering. So I was having 1 fight or maybe 3 if I win, I can go to a British. 3 fights a year, and it wasn't enough for me. I know I've only had 2 professional, but obviously due to Kovid, that's the reason why.
Yeah, but how frustrating has the Covid pandemic been for you in your boxing career?
I mean, very, because my first fight got cancelled due to my brain scan. Then I boxed twice, and obviously my 3rd fight got cancelled due to Covid, and I haven't boxed in over a year now, I believe, so it's been very annoying. I should be on about 6 to 7 fights by now.
Yeah, is this the longest period of time you've never boxed since you started the sport?
I think it's nearly. I think in the amateurs I went like a year, I think. Well, I boxed once in a year, or maybe I boxed like twice in like 2 years, because obviously the Welsh title, then the British, and I didn't box until I turned pro, and obviously missed the brain scan, blah, blah, blah. So I think it's nearly the same.
So regarding the brain scan, how nervous were you, or how anxious did failing that brain scan make you feel?
Well, they said I might not be able to box again if what they seen was correct. So yeah, it was very upsetting, to be honest. But went to see a specialist. She said everything's fine, and I was happy. And then I boxed then like 2 months later. So it was all good in the end.
Okay, so you're lucky to be here in St Joseph's Boxing Club in Newport with lots of world-class fighters, British-level fighters, Welsh-level fighters. Training alongside those guys, where do you think you are in terms of the fighting for a Welsh title?
I've only had 2 fights, but I believe I'm ready to fight for a Welsh title tomorrow. I'll fight for a Welsh title right now, but obviously it's not up to me. But if it was up to me, my next fight would be a Welsh title, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So when you do fight for titles, what weight division will you be boxing in, and who are the guys around you who might be fighting?
Super bantam, featherweight. Yeah, so I believe it's like, Rhys Edwards, Jacob Robson, David White, all them lot, so that's my weight, yeah.
And so guys like that who you know might be future opponents down the road, do you keep an eye on them? Do you sort of watch their interviews, watch their training videos?
I have watched 1 or 2 interviews, not to keep an eye on them, or I'm not bothered, to be honest. When we fight, when it's our time to fight each other, then I'll probably look into them, but for now I'm not bothered a minute.
And have your team given you any indication when you might be boxing again?
Not really, no, but I'm hoping to be out by March, like I'm hoping, but God knows what's going to happen. I don't really want to go longer than March, to be fair.
And has it been difficult for you to stay motivated and keep your weight down and keep training during the Covid period?
At the beginning, yes. I went up put on a bit of weight, so we all have, I think, innit? But yeah, it was hard to stay motivated. I was going to a gym. Obviously, I was sparring with the likes of Jay Harris for his last fight. So that kept me in the gym a bit, but then I let myself go again. But now I'm back in the gym again, so yeah, I'll be ready by next year.
You mentioned Jay Harris. I was talking to Jay last week, and his fight with Martinez, I think, did you help him get ready for that fight?
I sparred him every week up until that fight, yeah.
So were you surprised by how good a performance Jay put in, or was that what you were expecting anyway?
Sorry?
Were you expecting Jay to put in such a good performance? Because a lot of people are really surprised.
Yeah, I always expect Jay to put in a good performance, as he always does, you know? Yeah, I did expect that.
And is someone like JR is a motivating figure for you? Someone who's a similar weight to you, in a couple of weight divisions?
Yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, he is. Definitely, yeah, like I said, I like Jay a lot. He's a good friend of mine. We spar all the time, often. But yeah, he does. Seeing him do well makes me want to do well. Like.
Okay, mate. Good to finally speak to you in person. Have you got any sponsors you want to thank or give a shout out to?
Tidy Tyres in Port Talbot. Let's Personalise, CNA Printers, and Bully King Kennels, and there's plenty more. They're the main ones that helped me through this pandemic. Yeah.
And how can people follow your career? You on social media?
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram, Joshua John. Yeah, you can follow me on there.
Okay, mate. Good to speak to you, and good luck with the career, mate.